Welcome to American Stories with me, your host, Amman. This original HKIM series has been created to share with you the journeys of people who have come to America and overcoming personal and professional challenges, have made a successful life for them and their families. And on this program, we will hear that what they've experienced, how they've thrived, and what they've given back to the country and communities they live and work in. Joining me today is Nooriya Cheema. Nooriya, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
So I've known you for quite a few years now, since you were in high school and sitting here, growing up as a young professional. So let's learn a little bit about yourself, and let's start off by sharing with us where you were born and about your childhood.
Yeah, so I was born in Lahore, Pakistan, and I moved here when I was about a year and a half, and I moved to Boston, Massachusetts, and I've stuck around ever since.
Wow. So, I mean, I don't think it's fair to ask you if you remember anything in Pakistan at a year and a half, but just out of curiosity, have you gone back to Pakistan and visited?
I have. I've gone back probably 2 or 3 times just to visit family and stuff and kind of get a sense of what life was like back there. Yeah. And, you know, we're still very in touch with our culture, so it was nice to see where where our parents grew up and kind of see like where they went to school and went out and hung out with friends and then their families. So,
how was it growing up in Pakistan with your family? I mean, were they all from Lahore? And
my mom's side of the family was from Lahore, and my dad's side was from Karachi. So, when I was born in Lahore, and then we lived in Karachi with my dad's family. Okay. After 1997, we moved here, and then eventually a lot of my dad's side of the family also moved here. So,
how many siblings do you have?
I have 3 younger siblings.
And were they all born?
Yep, they were all born here.
Okay. And are you the youngest or the oldest?
I'm the oldest,
okay.
Oldest of 4.
All right. So my next question is, your parents, why did they decide to move to the U.S.?
I think it's most parents' dream to live out the American dream and have better opportunities in Mass. And I think some of my dad's brothers already lived here, so he was inspired by his brothers to come here.
And you said inspired, and while you were growing up, who inspired you during your childhood? It's
tough choice between my mom and my dad, but I think I'm going to have to lean towards my mom because she's really the strongest person I know.
And how much did she contribute to your success while growing up?
I think our mom was really heavy on, taking care of us a lot more because our dad worked full time and she was at home with us. So she was really persistent on education and, making sure we worked hard. And our dad was obviously more on the financial side of things.
Yeah. So your early years, you said you moved to Boston.
Yeah.
Where about in Boston?
We originally moved to Alston,
okay.
Boston. So me and my brother, the second
yep.
brother, we went to Boston Public for a little bit. We went there for probably like 2 years before my parents found out that he had autism.
Mm-hmm.
And once they found out he had autism, they realized that Boston Public didn't provide the education that he needed. So we ended up moving to Newton so that he could get a better special education.
And that's where you attended high school?
Yes. So after that, we stayed in Newton, and I went to Newton South High School.
Newton School. What are some of the fun things you did in high school and that shared with your friends?
So, just like most kind of suburban towns, we would all hang out, in Newton Center after school, or we'd go to the football games or get ice cream, typical teenager stuff.
And then, so when did you graduate from high school?
In 2015.
15. And where did you go to college?
So for undergrad, I went to Wentworth, and I studied business management with a concentration in project management. and I graduated in August of 2019.
Fair enough. And so where do you currently work at?
So I work at Putnam Investments in Boston, and I work on their legal team as a legal product specialist.
Is this your first job after college?
No, this is my second job. I previously worked at Natixis Investment Managers, which was also a financial company in Boston, and I also worked on their legal team.
Yeah. So what were some of your challenges during your career, like after college, as a young woman from Pakistan and entering, more of the corporate culture? What were some of the challenges that you faced?
I think some of the challenges, my parents weren't born here and didn't go to college here, so I had to kind of figure out a lot of things on my own because I didn't have an older sibling either to kind of lead me. So the college process I had to kind of figure out myself, and then career-wise I also had to figure that out on my own. So it was a lot of things like, just being a woman in business is hard already. And then being a woman of color in business is like an added hurdle to kind of, prove to people that you mean business.
Yeah. Did you accomplish all this by yourself, or did you have like mentors?
I think my dad was a mentor because he obviously owns his own business. And then one of my uncles was also in the finance industry, so he was kind of a mentor there too. And then a lot of our college professors in undergrad were really, really helpful in, finding co-op opportunities and networking. So
I want to talk a little about your family. Excuse me. So I had the pleasure of meeting your family, and I am definitely a fan of your brother Usman. And I know that you are very close to him, and you've been a part of his life growing up. And I think being an inspiration for all of us, why do you think that it was important for him to grow up in at least in Massachusetts or in the U.S., given he's an autistic, he had autistic needs?
yeah, I think we were lucky enough to move to Boston before Usman was born, and then when he was born and we realized that he needed extra help and things, it was good for us to move to New Inn, where they really specialized in a lot of that. And then he just really has good family support. All of our cousins really care a lot about him, and he's just like any other brother. He loves getting on our nerves and laughing about it. He's just like anyone else.
Right. Yeah, I do. Definitely, you've done a lot, and thank you for helping him. So going back to your family, so your family is a very well-established business here in Boston. Mm-hmm. Why didn't you pursue something like his business, or why did you open your own business like your family?
Well, I think my dad's business was really an inspiration for me. I felt like business was kind of in our blood almost, where all of my uncles also worked there, and to see that growing up, see them put in the effort day in, day out, working crazy hours, just to, ensure that everybody in our family had a living was, really inspiring. And it's definitely something I could see myself doing in the future.
Oh, perfect. Going back to communities, like typically as immigrants, right, we like to stay with our communities and we just help each other. But do you really think, and I ask all my guests, do you think it is important to actually give back to your community and help where we live right now?
Yeah, of course. I think, I definitely lean towards donating towards mosques and stuff because I know how hard it can be for Muslim Americans to grow up. But, it's important overall to help the entire city. Then anything that we really see as like something that needs our help in any way we can, we try to donate. We've donated a lot to like Autism Speaks and stuff because we've seen the direct impact that foundations like that have had.
Yeah. So going back to giving back to the community, right? So you have the associations like the autistic and different, but then there are certain organizations that support immigrants too, from other countries. So Why do you think those are also important to support?
I think it's really important because, a lot of families in Pakistan weren't as, lucky as we were to move here. And I think it would have made a lot of people's lives really different if they do get to move to America or outside of Pakistan and, get that better education or get that better career opportunity. So I think it's definitely important to give back and help others in succeeding.
So you have accomplished a lot in a short time. So where do you see yourself probably in the next 10, 15, 20 years?
I would definitely see myself somewhere in the C-suite, not sure how or when to get there, but definitely somewhere up there, and definitely to eventually own my own business, just like my family has.
What advice would you give a young person starting their career in the corporate world?
I would say it's definitely really important to focus on networking. I think a lot of the best opportunities come from networking instead of kind of blindly throwing your resume onto applications. And I would definitely say, nothing comes easy in life. You really have to work hard. So, as basic as that sounds, you have to work hard to kind of get those better opportunities. And, wherever you see yourself, you should really work and stride towards that.
Yeah. So typically, what I've seen, and I've interviewed other guests too, that most of the immigrants that move to the U.S., they push their kids either to become doctors or engineers. Do you think that is important? And if not, then what other fields are there to explore someone in your generation?
Yeah, I think people push that a lot because obviously our parents want us to do the best we can. So, I heard the same things growing up, but I think they've kind of showed us firsthand that you can be a business owner and be successful, and you can do, one of my uncles is really into cricket, so he's on the cricket team, and it's really important to go into what you're passionate about
Right.
versus what's kind of the standard thing to go off of.
Yeah. So, and then I want to relate what you said. So today, given that what's happening in the world, if you're in Pakistan today, at your age, do you think you accomplish the same thing that you have here in the U.S.?
Definitely not. Definitely not. I think it's just as difficult as it is here to be a woman in business. It's probably 10 times harder to kind of have men take you seriously in business in Pakistan. So I find myself really grateful to live here.
So I think it would be fair to say that there are still opportunities here.
For sure.
And I think over here in the work culture, it is what value you can bring to the corporate world versus what you. So, when have you been most satisfied living here in the U.S.?
That is a good question. Probably watching my younger siblings accomplish a lot. I think seeing them do, better than I have is really, it's almost like I feel like a mom sometimes. I'm just so happy to see them kind of achieve their dreams and goals.
Yeah. Where do you see your siblings as far as growing up, and what kind of careers would they pursue?
So my sister is into IT, so she's pursuing IT right now, and I really love that because that's something she's always been passionate about since a young age. So to see her kind of profit off of what she loves doing anyways is a really great feeling. And, she's following in my footsteps. She also wants to go and get her master's, and even our youngest brother, who's 8, he's always like, I can't wait to go to an Ivy League. And, it's inspiring to see them be so passionate about achieving a lot.
Very good. A little bit about yourself, too. So I'm sure being a young woman, you do have hobbies. So what are your hobbies?
I love working out. I do a lot of Pilates. I like hanging out with my friends. Going to dinner, trying out new food places,
Yeah.
the standard stuff.
And languages too. Are you multilingual, and what languages do you speak?
I can speak Urdu, and I can understand Punjabi, but I can't speak it. And I can speak Hindi.
Hindi too.
Yeah.
And of course, and you try to speak English too.
Of course.
Yeah.
I try my best.
Do you think it is important? I mean, it's just what makes this site is wonderful is just all the different languages. Do you think that it does help in the career moving forward?
I really do think it does. I think it sets you apart from, the million of other applications that people get in. So when they see that somebody can speak a lot of languages, it just sets you apart. It makes you a little bit more unique.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, and given, if you have to look back, right, and given the success you have, that you've achieved in a short time, how would you describe yourself in one word, and explain why you would explain that?
I would say I'm very diligent. I kind of have seen a lot of that success doesn't come unless you work hard for it. So I really emphasize if you ever want something in life, you have to work hard for it. You can't just expect it to fall in your lap.
Well, so what do you think, or rather, how do you achieve success? What goes behind achieving success?
I think it's really the mindset. You have to be in that mindset that this is what I want and this is how people can achieve it. And, working towards that daily is, the only way you could get closer to it. And, not being so upset if you fail. There's always plenty of setbacks in life, but, it's always just redirection.
Thank you, Nooriya, for being on the show. And thank you for watching our series. I hope you enjoyed learning about Nooriya's journey. And to learn more about our show, please visit our website, and also love to hear your comments and reactions to our show. And my contact is on our page. Until then, thank you. My name is Amman Hydri, and thank you for being on American Stories with Amman.